Right now at 6, caught on camera as thieves break into a Northeast Portland brewery for the 5th time.
These people are able to just walk out the front door with, straight cash that they just stole out of safes.
Plus, hear from a local nurse who answered the call for service, who's now stuck in Gaza.
We don't want to leave until our replacements in Egypt come over and relieve us. We don't want to abandon these people.
And Beaverton parents push back.
We're really trying to understand why. Why is the district pushing for this philosophy?
As the district explores the idea of closing 4 elementary schools. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulco. We begin at 6 with a Northeast Portland brew pub whose owners are out thousands of dollars and feeling fed up after it was broken into for a 5th time. And as Blair Best reports, the co-founder of Migration Brewing is now saying something needs to change.
Look closely at the table near the back windows, and you'll see the moment 2 thieves broke into Migration Brewing off Northeast Gleason Street. You can hear them smash a window. They wait for the alarm to go off, and it didn't right away. So they crawled through the broken glass, cut open the safe, and stole about $3,000 in cash before casually walking out the front door. Police showed up about 20 minutes later, and it all happened just after 6 o'clock Wednesday morning.
But then to wake up and have somebody being able to walk out in broad daylight after breaking in is kind of ridiculous.
Colin Rath is the brewery co-founder. Next to him is the damaged safe.
Cut with what looks like a hot knife through butter.
These types of break-ins aren't new to Colin.
I just think, yet again, this is the 5th time in less than 3 years that this particular location has been broken into.
Mayor Ted Wheeler's office told KGW they have been in contact with the brewery and are working to connect them with a small business repair grant, which covers up to $10,000 in physical damages. That does not include stolen cash.
I think it's a Band-Aid over a bullet hole.
Is proposed for council adoption fiscal year 2024-25 budget. And
inside council chambers Wednesday, Mayor Wheeler proposed adding an additional $500,000 to the small business repair grants, given how often vandalism and break-ins happen.
Politicians need to start making some changes. They need to start creating some accountability.
Last month, Migration Brewing was named Oregon's Small Business of the Year.
That award was something that kind of gave us some wind in our sails of like, this is why we've worked so hard. This is why we've made some of the decisions we've made. And then something like this happens, it's deflating.
All right, we just got some new stats from the mayor's office, and since the start of this year, there have been roughly 500 reported burglaries at Portland businesses. Now, while that may seem like a lot, it's actually about 50% less than the number of reported business burglaries this time last year. Now, the mayor's office tells us they're doing everything they can to try and find who broke into Migration Brewing and hold them accountable. David?
Yeah, at least the trend seems to be going in the right direction. You really feel for these guys, though. Thank you, Blair. All right, so your headlines now, starting in Vancouver, where police are trying to find a man who stabbed a woman in the neck. This was yesterday on the Clark College campus, and there are surveillance photos of that suspect. The woman says the man, who appears to be in his 30s or 40s, came up to her screaming and asking for help. She thought he punched her, but then realized she had been stabbed. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they believe the same man was involved in a Monday incident in one of the campus parking lots. That is when they say the suspect tried to get into a woman's parked car. She screamed and he ran away. If you recognize this man, please call Vancouver Police. 5 neighborhood groups have filed a new lawsuit against ODOT in an effort to block the addition of freeway lanes as part of the nearly $2 billion I-5 Rose Quarter project. The plaintiffs, including No More Freeways, Bike Loud, PDX, and the Elliott Neighborhood Association, say ODOT's proposal, which includes adding lanes to ease congestion on that I-5 bottleneck, conflicts with the city's clean air and climate goals, and they are now demanding a new environmental review that looks at other options. Federal officials signed off on ODOT's environmental review in March, giving it the green light to move into the design phase. In Eugene, students taking part in a pro-Palestinian protest encampment at the University of Oregon say they are not responsible for vandalism to a Starbucks near campus overnight. Around 2 this morning, students marched the university president's home, where they chanted and made noise for a few minutes and then left. Now, sometime after that, the Starbucks near campus had its windows smashed and was tagged with graffiti that included pro-Palestinian messages. The encampment there is now in its 17th day. And the Oregon Employment Department says it will be cutting phone hours to help its workers catch up on a massive backlog of unpaid benefits. Beginning in June, no one will be answering those calls on Mondays, and on other days, hours will be reduced. Officials say people will still likely get help faster by going online.
The web messaging is still probably the most efficient way for them to get a question to us so that we can respond with details rather than having to have our employees kind of start investigating from scratch while the person is on the phone.
Let's talk about the numbers. OED says 55,000 Oregonians are waiting on their claims, and nearly a quarter of those have been waiting at least 6 weeks. Joe?
Hey, David, over the last several days, we've been seeing nothing but sunshine and very warm conditions. Even today it was nice. In fact, the warmest day we've seen so far this week. Temperatures topped out in the low 80s. Along the coast, a little bit cooler, temperature of 57 degrees. And out in the reserve over in Aloha, a picture-perfect day to go hit the links. Temperature of 80 degrees. It's still going to be nice tomorrow, but it's going to be cooler and cloudy. I should say it'll still be nice tomorrow in terms of temperatures. Right now we're seeing a temperature of 81 degrees in downtown Portland. We'll have more of an onshore flow rolling in late tonight and into tomorrow. As we look at the hour-by-hour forecast, after midnight we're still clear, but by the time you start your morning commute and head the kids off to school, you'll be seeing temperatures in the low 50s with some pockets of drizzle here and there. But for the most part, it's going to be more dry than wet over the next couple of days. And we go into tomorrow afternoon, daytime highs will be right around the mid to the upper 60s. And heading into Friday, David, it's going to be a little bit sunnier, but still right around average for this time of year. Heading into the weekend, it'll be looking a little bit different. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, see you later, 80, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Thank you, Joe. Now at 6, some Beaverton parents are sounding the alarm over a proposal which could close several elementary schools. Thomas Schultz is here. So Thomas, what is this all about?
Yeah, well, David, parents in the southeast quadrant of the Beaverton School District worry several elementary schools like Raleigh Park could close in a couple years, with students being placed at a new Raleigh Hills Elementary School instead. That school is currently under construction and could hold 750 students, while those smaller schools, again like Raleigh Park, housing around 300 kids, could close. Of course, many families do not like this plan. Parents say small schools are better fits for their young kids, and they say the Beaverton School District hasn't been transparent. Families only found out the district was studying options last Friday when reading school district meeting notes. We reached out to the Beaverton School District for an interview. They declined our request, though a spokesperson says they didn't alert families to the planning committee study because they just began to look at these options in February. They add the studies are preliminary and it's not known what schools would close, if any at all. Still, the idea of shutting schools down to begin with has parents on high alert.
This process has happened so quickly that there hasn't been enough consideration onto the effect of student success.
You know, I have a lot of concerns about my daughter's ability to thrive in an environment with 700 plus kids.
So clearly a lot of panic there. Now, even if this proposal is approved, students wouldn't move into Raleigh Hills until the 2026-27 school year. And administrators say parent opinions will be taken into account next fall before a final decision is finally made. David?
All right, not a done deal yet, but you can understand the feelings about the uncertainty. Thank you, Thomas. All right, tonight with Israeli operations in Gaza ongoing, a Portland nurse is stuck in the middle of a war zone. She arrived in Rafah before the latest attacks got underway and now has no idea when she will be able to leave. Sydney Dorner talked with her about her volunteer trip that is now filled with uncertainty. Sydney?
David, Monica Johnston has worked as a burn care nurse here in Portland for 23 years. As a member of the American Burn Association, she heard about a call for volunteers in Gaza and immediately applied, admitting she didn't quite know what she was getting herself into at the time. Now, a brief warning to our viewers, some of the details of this story are graphic.
Going from never watching the news to consuming yourself with it, immersing yourself with it, I was just appalled at what was happening here.
Monica Johnston is stuck in Rafah as a volunteer nurse. Johnston says she had a gut feeling it would be difficult to get out because it was already grueling traveling in.
The fear is at any checkpoint, your team could be turned back, or one van could be turned back. So every checkpoint we hit, it was this little bit of a win and excitement that we're one step closer to helping.
The all-day journey was worth it once she arrived at the hospital, swarmed by Palestinian children seeking comfort and affection.
I found out later that the girl I was holding and some of the other kids there had been orphaned. Their entire families had been killed. And it makes me so happy now that like I picked her up, hugged her, and gave her everything I had in that moment.
The mission trip was set to last 2 weeks, with a departure on May 13th. But Johnston is still there.
The borders are closed. They are not allowing any humanitarian supplies, food, water, fuel, or aid workers in or out.
She and her partners haven't received guidance on what may come. Meanwhile, they're still providing care to children who will live in this trauma long after they are gone.
At 6:30 this morning, a loud bang just shook our entire building, and my heart jumped out of my chest.
Johnston says that guilt has been the hardest part of this entire ordeal.
Their limbs are being severed. They have holes all over their body. They have head injuries. Israel says that their goal is about Hamas and defeating Hamas. But then what about all these kids that are dying in our ICUs?
Now, Monica tells me she was contacted by Senator Ron Wyden today, saying his team is working to help her partners get out of Gaza. David, back to you.
Yeah, tough situation on so many ways there. Thank you, Sydney. Still to come at 6, a look at a groundbreaking tool that could give Oregon an advantage in the sky when it comes to fighting wildfires. Plus, how an airport on the Oregon coast will play a key role if and when a major earthquake strikes. And coming up at 6:30, we are just 6 days out from the Oregon primary and fact-checking political ads. Tonight, the story team takes a look at an ad targeting DA Mike Schmidt about claims about crime in Multnomah County. That's coming up at 6:30 on The Story, only here on KGW.